Hi Sudha, welcome to Galatta Plus. I see that you've changed your office since the last time we met. And there's been other changes as well. I know that you don't believe in male filmmakers and female filmmakers, that distinction, and I also know that the distinction between northern and southern films doesn't make a difference. But just for a statistical curiosity, I dug into the web and found that the first time a film got Best Film, feature film at the National Awards, and was directed by a woman was in 2016. It is Sumitra Bhave who co-directed this Marathi film called Kasab. And then the second time that happened was Rima Das's Village Rockstars, Assamese film, right?
I've seen that.
You heard of that, right? The third time it's happened is with you. So you are actually the first South Indian female director whose film has won Best Film. So I just want to tell all that before saying, truly, congratulations.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. And you know what? I want to correct you and put it out there right now that I call myself a female filmmaker. It's okay coming from my mouth. My women filmmaker friends call me a woman filmmaker. It's fine. But when it comes from the privileged, when it comes out of their mouths, it seems like a bad word to me, which is why I fight that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the last time we spoke, you kind of had this thing about it.
So where it comes from and how it comes, what intonation it comes with, and I'm pretty sensitive to it.
Right. But anyway, you are the first female filmmaker from South India whose film has won the Best Film. So that's like a really specific qualification that I wanted to bring out there, and so congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Sudha, what does a national award mean? Is it going to change the way you work or how you look at your future cinema? Does the fact of winning a national award change perceptions within the industries that you work in, which for now are primarily Tamil, Telugu and Hindi?
Okay, the first question, I'll answer your first question. How am I going to change, or how is this going to change my way of working or filmmaking? It's not going to change it at all. Because I never set out to win the national award. I set out to make a film that would run, that would be identified with, people would relate to, people would cry when Suriya cried, people would laugh when he laughed, people would feel romance in their hearts when they saw this pair. This is all I set out to do, and I will continue to do only that. And as a byproduct, you get awards at this level. Wow, I mean, it's fantastic, but I don't see me sitting down and saying, okay, this is going to get me an award and write like that, because I don't know how to do that.
Right. What I was going at is it going to maybe help you do the odd, like supposing you have a slightly offbeat idea, like let me try this for OTT kind of a thing, that's...
Yeah, so the offbeat idea and smaller films, more intimate films, personal films perhaps.
Like Tangam, for instance.
Yeah, Tangam have started... or rather, I've been able to put it out because of OTT, not because I won the award. So the OTT has opened up several doors. Like, for example, I'm going to be doing something on the first lady doctors in the South, set between 1920s to the 1940s. And it's exciting me to no end. I've started off writing it as a series, but I don't know if it'll probably move into a film. I don't know. But I'm saying, I love it.
You're doing the series?
I'm doing the series.
Okay,
I'm writing it out right now. So I don't know when exactly I'll film it, but that's happening. And then there is something up north. There was a producer who came to me with an idea, which is about a girl. It's a mother and her daughter. And it just grabbed me. And I couldn't sleep after that. And it's not your quintessential mainstream. Not even mainstream. It's not a big film. It's a more intimate film. And I said, I'm doing it. I don't know when I can do it. My slate is like full. But I'm telling her, don't give it to anybody. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'm begging that the lady with the story, So I think it's not about awards at all. But I will never say that, awards are nothing. Awards are everything also, because they're the teeny. It's that encouragement. It's that thing that goads you. Like, okay, for 3 years I've been sitting without anything. I'm writing something, I'm filming something. But this comes and then you're so energized. You're telling me I'm looking peaceful. So I do feel a kind of validation. I do feel, oh wow, it wasn't all that bad. It was good.
Right.
Somebody sitting up there is saying, like, okay, it's good stuff. So
is there a difference in the perception? My second part to my question.
I'm yet to see it because
It's
just 3 days since.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. As long as you don't give it too much of, you don't take that too seriously, I don't think it'll affect life.
So that you were just talking about mainstream films, and traditionally the national awards have gone to the likes of, Satyajit Ray, Adur Gopalakrishnan, Girish Kasaravalli. That's what we traditionally call art films, though all films are art, but there's a specific category called
Parallel
art
cinema.
films, parallel cinema, whatever you want. And even when a movie like Pan Singh Tomar won, it's kind of not exactly a full-on mainstream film. There's a very distinct, Tigmanshu's sensibility, Dhulya's sensibility is very little bit off center. So when Bahubali became the first full-on mainstream film to win the national award, like full-on, some filmmakers like Gurvinder Chadha and all that said they really, really protested and said that, popular films have so many awards for them, whereas the national awards are the only awards given to this kind of cinema. Many felt, for instance, that year Visarane should have gotten the best film simply because it was a
Didn't
different.
I think Visarane got quite a few awards.
But best film.
So that was
went to
the year Bahubali went.
Bahubali won best film.
Okay.
As not best Telugu film, but best film.
Right.
Yeah. So they felt that Visaranai, for instance, would have been a better choice for that thing that's happened. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, just to kind of preempt, I don't want to divide mainstream because everything is cinema, but what are your thoughts on this?
So I would say, okay, looking at across the seas, if you look at what are the films that are making it to the Oscars and winning the best feature film, you have A Beautiful Mind. And how is it a small film or how is it a bad film?
Yeah.
It deserves that award. So, I mean, if you're making the bucks as well as getting the awards, great. Because it's great cinema at the end of the day.
Right.
And Bahubali, I think, broke many barriers in that sense. Like, it was this huge spectacle film and the VFX was fantastic and it gave you an experience. So you reward that, you award that. It doesn't matter to me at all that, the 1 billion population, more of the billions watched it, more of the billion watched it than a smaller film. It does. Why are you being a reverse snob about it? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think any film that works, any film that sets out to work, if it's awarded, it's okay.
Now, Sudha, one of the most satisfying things for a director is when her actors are recognized for an award, because a big part of directing is getting the pitch and the tonality of the acting right. Now, of course, you already have two proven talents in Suriya and Aparna, Balamurali. Like, nobody needs to give them an award to recognize how talented they are, but they won their biggest acting award for your film. So how does that feel?
There's a third actor actually. Even Ritika got a special mention.
Right.
Yeah. So all my actors have been winning awards, and at the Filmfare level, all of them get all the awards.
But I just said the biggest award, right?
Yeah, biggest award again. These three people have got it. It feels fantastic because teaching. I've always believed this. Okay, it's not my job to teach an actor how to act, but it's my job to direct.
Right.
So I just push them in the direction of the story. And we work out a tonality together. But I think it's all them. If it's not there in them, it's not going to be there out there. You just direct, that's it. So I really can't take too much credit for it. I'm working for the film rather than for the actors.
No. I'm not saying you're puppeteering the whole thing.
No.
But what I'm saying is, you have a vision for the film.
Yeah.
And people have to fall into that vision, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, otherwise everybody will be doing their own.
No, that we do. That we have extensive workshops, we have extensive rehearsals, readings, all of that.
Right.
And I think these are actors who align themselves to the director's vision.
Right.
Both of them.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do something on their own.
Yeah.
Why both of them? Everybody from Kali Venkat to Urushi ma'am to, Karuna sir and everybody, they keep asking me, Amma, unakku enna venuma? Unakku enna venum? So I'm like, wow. I mean, today Akshay Kumar sir also asked the same question. I'm trying to get into your head. I want to know what you want. Why are you killing me for another take? He asked me all those things. So I think it's a lot of faith both ways. So it feels damn good that they trusted me and they delivered.
The favorite award that you won for me was for the screenplay that you did with Shalini Usha Devi. One, because I personally know how hard you worked on the screenplay of Suriya Pottru and how many drafts you did, how many rewrites you did. You were kind of killing yourself over it. And it took, I think, 4 years
easily.
To write the screenplay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I think this is a huge validation for the writing process. Like to kind of say, I'm going to write till I get it right.
Correct.
Wow, that rhymed without my wanting to. But anyway, that's something. Many people, they don't believe in spending time with the writing, especially in Tamil cinema, and especially and I know this for a fact. I'm putting it out there, not to be controversial or anything like that. But why do you think writing is so disregarded? Writers are so underpaid. Writing itself is not thought of as something important, even though that is the entire foundation, the blueprint for the film.
I think it comes from not being paid very well. So writers, there are no writers. So anybody who has a little bit of a thought or a concept, he says a director gets paid better, and then he goes and he starts making this. I've said before, and this I will say again. But I pay my writers pretty well, and I'm always looking out for writers. I love writers. I chase. I go looking for them, and because I think they do what I do much better. Yes, I'm also a writer director, but I think they do better than me. Sometimes directors, I feel this is something that I've very rarely do you get somebody who says to hell with you, I don't really care whether I work with you or not, whether I make a film or not, whether I make money or not, till I get my script right. Raju Hirani is one such, because he told me after 3 Idiots there were people coming to him with crores and crores of like unheard of amounts of money, and it took him 5 years to make PK. And there on now, after PK, after Sanju, I'm like, these are films that are making 500 crores or whatever those crores are, and this guy doesn't budge. And I spoke to him recently. I remember telling him, so there's this big actor who wants to work with me, and then I have narrated to him, but I don't think I can do it in the timelines. He said, don't budge. Don't budge. Chuck it. You don't need that film. That I think many people don't do. Because
it's because of the deadlines.
It's because of the deadlines.
Or rather, the availability of dates of stars.
The huge actors come to... See, you need huge actors, you need big stars, because you need to mount your film. You have to spend X amount of money on a Suriya Pottru. You have planes, you have runways, you have the MODs, you have the Kirans, you have a huge star cast. You need a Suriya. Otherwise, you can't make that film.
Yeah.
But Suriya was kind, generous, and wonderfully understanding to say, okay, this is your process and I'm waiting. Because when I went to him, I went with a 44-pager, I went with a one-line treatment screenplay, and it wasn't written out. And I remember Raja telling me, you have it written, let's go, let's shoot. So I said, no, I'm not ready. And then Suriya waited it out patiently, rather than the other way around. He was waiting for me to finish and say, okay, now I'm good to go, And I think many filmmakers are like that, even here. I don't want to name names, but there are many like that who will sit back and say, I don't have the story ready, I'm not going for shoot. Right. And then there are others who don't have the story ready and they just go on floors and then they're writing while shooting. So that to me doesn't work, because like I said, I'm not a privileged filmmaker. I am somebody who's had to fight very hard to get a film, to have somebody put money on me. So then I have to prove myself doubly, triply hard. So like I said, I'm not a privileged filmmaker. So when you're privileged, then everybody's waiting for you to finish your script or not, or reshoot. I don't get all those luxuries.
But, so but people are waiting for you to finish your script.
Now, Suriya did.
Yeah.
Suriya is my brother, he's my friend, he did.
But why do you say you're not a privileged filmmaker then? There are big actors waiting for you to finish your script, right?
No, that was only Suriya, okay. And I am saying I am not a privileged filmmaker, because while I am shooting it, I don't get to write it, and those kind of things. I don't do it.
But that's not privilege, Sudha.
I think it is privilege when you can go do...
but don't you think, sorry to cut you off, but don't you think that most of those films that end up being written on the set end up quite...
No, not really. They end up making those films for 2 years, 3 years. They go on to become blockbusters also. It's fine. But I'm saying they get that space. They get that, like people are waiting and say, okay, director, betterment பண்றாரு, இது பண்றாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி chance எனக்கு, I haven't got that.
But would you want the chance?
Maybe.
Really? Like to wing it on the sets? That's...
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it, because I have been trained this way. Right. But sometimes I feel like, why don't I also get 150 days to shoot a film? Why don't I also, get these extravagant budgets? Why don't I also do... But we were really crushed. But then it was Mr. Mani Ratnam's sensibilities and his tutelage which was telling me, like, certain films have only certain budgets, and this is something that is really out of the box. It's about the aviation industry. It is a corporate kind of a film. It's not tested waters, so you really can't go out and spend 200 crores on it.
Right.
So keep your budgets tight and then go for it.
Yeah.
So when it works, it's a bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can't work on films like this, which is slightly off kilter that way. Even Irdi Sutru was like that. We worked on some minuscule budgets and all kinds of things.
Well, it certainly didn't show on screen, so yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why you work doubly, triply hard, and that's why I make myself sick. I go through all kinds of lows and highs and health issues, and everything happens because in 43 days you turn out that product in a reasonable quality. You know, in 43 days, 2 languages is...
You don't have to be modest.
Yeah.
It was not reasonable. It was good.
No, I don't know. I don't know. See, you always like that film better, but I go back and I say, oh, I wish I could have done this better. There are lots of problems with that film. But yeah, so I'm saying when you're pushing for quality and you have these constraints, it becomes a very difficult process.
Yeah. A word about G.V. Prakash, who also won a national award. So again, congratulations for that. But tell me one, I mean, of course, the whole soundtrack worked for you, which is obviously why it's there, because you kind of approved of every track and whatever it is, and you guys have a real sync. But tell me one scene whose score that particularly you love. I mean, like, I don't want you to, I know it's like choosing from your babies, but tell me one scene where you felt he really nailed it.
I think the cold opening, that one, because
Where they're racing alongside
yeah. I think the cold opening was very, very operatic, very, very big, and it was bigger than what was on screen. So I admire him for that. You know, he just gave that. And the second was the climax, Kaile Agasam. Because it was a 19 to 20 minute sequence. That
Right.
whole climax was a 20-minute thing, from when she's sitting waiting, he's waiting and he's prepping his planes and she's waiting to get into the plane, to when the old lady gets down from the thing.
Right.
It was like 20 minutes or a good 19, 20 minutes. And how do you score that? There are no dialogues, there's nothing happening. And so he was like, he keeps saying, vaasichittu irundha. But I said, shh. He just stopped at one point. He said, this place requires a voice and a song. And that was done during Corona. I remember his wife Saindhavi was in her parents' place. She was pregnant, like some 8-9 months pregnant. And I was sitting in my house and he was sitting in his house. It was lockdown, complete lockdown, March 19th.
Right.
That time. And what does he do? He gets a police escort, somebody, and he sends his recordist with one kuti mic and one little machine, and he sends it to her, and she's singing it, fully pregnant, and she's singing it, and that's what was that. And when I heard it, I mean, he hadn't shown me the tune, he hadn't shown me what he had done. We had discussed the thing, like Talata irundha supera irukum. So Yuga Bharati sir had written it.
Right.
We wanted a Talata. It was like, ayyo nee odnadu podum, you've run enough, my son, now rest.
Right.
You know, that was the mood of that moment. So when I first heard it, and I heard it with the visual, because the lockdown was lifted and we could work in 5 numbers or something, I went there and I just started crying when I heard it. And that girl's voice, oh my God, I think it was just, that is my favorite piece of music in the film. Yeah.
Nice. Now, you've been involved in a lot of remakes. Lot as in the few films that you made.
Yeah, I remake my own films, so I make money.
Right. So what I'm saying is, Iridi Sutru was a bilingual, and then you made it as Guru. Suriya Pottru is now being made with Akshay Kumar. Now, there are some directors who say they don't like doing remakes because it becomes like a little boring for them to kind of go through the same process. There are other directors who say they love doing remakes because it helps them rectify a lot of the things that they wish they had done the first time. Little mistakes, which happens every time in any movie, kind of a thing. What is your joy or creative satisfaction in doing a remake?
I'm very honest, very honest. I don't get paid so much on the original, so I go and do my remakes, because by then these are successes and then they pay me shitloads of money to do the other one. So that is one. But another very, very important thing for me was the talent is very different.
Right.
When I work on those films, and the cultural milieu is very different. Like, for example, here she was a fisher girl, a fisherwoman, and there she was a farmer.
Right.
Because there aren't, the coast is not that big. The coast is not that big, and we have a very small pocket in Jalarpet of those people, and you have to identify. So she became a farmer, which is much more in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Now, the same thing here, while situating the film, it was a battle for more than 8 to 9 months, 10 months. We were sitting and working on the script. And this is a remake, a rewrite, a copy, doesn't matter. We were working on it for 9 months. You know, with first one writer came on board, then another writer, and then we were sitting and reading with Akshay sir, and he had his issues and we had our issues. So the process is not small even on a remake of mine.
Of course not.
So like culturally making it different, and then you have the talent. So it's so different, his process, even Venki sir's process vis-a-vis Maddie's, and Akshay's vis-a-vis Surya's. It's very, very different. I'm learning. I'm actually learning. Because when I went from here, I'm like, this gentleman is doing it this way. It's not going to work. Oh my God, it's not going to be this. And then I see that, and that process is also working. So I'm learning. As a filmmaker, like, I've become more adventurous. Okay. So, because he's like a switch on, switch off actor.
Right.
Surya is like a dual actor. He just, he goes into the mood, he sits there with that mood.
Right.
And he really, really works hard.
Right, and he's actually said that
Yeah.
this was the film that kind of was a rebirth for him as an actor or something like that. You know, he made something like that. Yeah.
Because I think I pushed him to go into those corners of his heart that were not, they were dark spaces, dark periods of his life that he was delving into and trying to remember before he made it, before he was anything big in cinema, and he was digging from that and he was putting it out there on screen. It was like quite a painful process for him. So Akshay sir has a totally different process. He just goes there and then he's got, those tears are coming. Like my editor tells me, like when he's watching it, he's like, "Inna ivre abdina." So the different process, and it's exciting for me.
Just to help me understand, you use the word copy. I would not use that word at all, because it's a redo maybe, but I don't know, because there is always a flavor difference, and even the energies that you get from people are so different that I don't know if I'd use the word copy. But anyway, the question I want to ask you is, can you give me a scene that changed from, that was either there in Idri Sutru and was not there in Guru, or that changed in tonality from this to this, just to help understand. And similarly, a scene in Suriya Pottru that you don't have to tell what you're going to do, but that a scene that you're looking at changing it, just to see how this works.
So to me, okay, in Irdi Sutru, I had that scene. The film opens with him sleeping with another man's wife.
Yeah.
You know, and that was his character. He says, "You're willing, I'm single, you're whatever. We go ahead," and but he never sleeps with his students. You know, and here Venki was very uncomfortable doing it.
Right.
A, B, coming back here, the censors had removed many of those aspects of it. There were other layers to it that I had done throughout Irdi Sutra. It was not there because they sat me down and they said, "This is a film that should be watched by children and youth. Now you're going to remove this if you want a you." So I said, "Okay, fine, fair enough. You're telling me, okay, this is that, then great." So I had to remove certain things, and I had to cut short that scene and all of that. Everything that was funny in the scene was no longer funny. So I said, it was like, it's mutilated anyway and it's not going to pass here either. So I cut it off. Second, Venki has an image.
Yeah,
Telugu is like, you know, he feels very uncomfortable doing it, and he said, "You really needed to say my story." So I had an alternate scene which I had written for the Tamil, which went off in the cut. So I put that as the opening scene where he comes in and then, you know, he's like the whiplash kind of a master. So that was one scene. That was one thing that was different. And in Suriya Pottru, I think. In some, at one point in the narrative in the second half, I felt it was jerky. So I've removed that and now it flows smooth.
And about you, tell me a scene in Suriya Pottru that you felt was especially well directed. That again, like G.V. Prakash, like I said, for him, that you felt, wow, I think I really nailed that scene. For me, it's that scene where Suriya asks Aparna for money because A, that situation has never been shown in Tamil cinema before, and B, I don't think Suriya has ever been that naked on screen before. And Aparna was equally fantastic because she was like, you know, processing a lot of things that women have processed over the years and kind of, so of course it comes from the writing and everything, but for me it was the direction of that scene was just spectacular. Which is your I nailed it scene?
I think it's the moment when he comes running and he sees that woman the Tongatan party getting down from the flight. And the expression he had on his face, in his eyes, and the first tear, it just pooled with tears.
When you were watching it right there?
Yeah. And when I watch it each time, even today when I watch it, I cry because that's my emotion when I have done something and got some success for it. Because it's been a hard battle. It's been
Sorry,
a
got
long
some
journey.
success as in?
Like, okay, so you do Irdi Sutru, you don't know whether it's going to release or not, what is happening, and then it it releases in 90 theaters, and my competitors releasing in 500 theaters, and we don't even have theaters, and then it just goes on. By the end of the day, it takes all the screens. So, and then you're not smiling about it. You're just like weeping for all your work, and that's the emotion that Suriya caught. It's not. It's a victory.
So it felt almost personal for you.
It is. It is pretty autobiographical. Soorarai Pottru or Irdi Sutru, both of them. And there's a lot of me. In fact, I explained that to Suriya when we were shooting that. I said, I don't think you'd smile. I don't think there's any smile left in you. It is just relief. When you win, sometimes it's joy, and for people who faced a lot of difficulties and failures, it is relief. And that's what I feel even today. Like wherever I am, I feel relief and gratitude. And
Even now?
yeah.
I mean, I can understand that's in the early part of your career, maybe Drohi or something like that, but you feel that.
Yeah, I feel only relief. I feel relief that, thank you, God, I aced this, so now I get to make my next film the way I want to, which is a big deal.
Right. So are you saying that there is no confidence?
It's not confidence. I have plenty of confidence when I go out there and I'm directing and everything, and I'm writing something and I'm pitching something. I have a lot of confidence, but there is a lot of fear that what if it doesn't succeed? So do I do my next film the same way that I did my first film, wherein you're not given freedom, wherein you're like hammered, you're tortured, you're just not getting your voice out there.
Right.
And you feel stunted. So you just want success so you can tell your next story the way you want to say it.
So finally, Sudha, let's end with a slightly lighter question, because I think we've really gotten into a serious zone about directing, which was, I could have continued for some more time. But, people who win national awards are typically asked to be on the jury in subsequent years and see a lot of films and judge films. So I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. The two directors that you worked with, Bala and Ratnam, if you were to pick one film of theirs to give a national award to, which films would they be?
I think they've already got the national awards for whatever I felt they deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Manisa's Nayagan, it got so many awards, and Bala Sir's Pitavagan got awards. And I think all the films get awards every year.
But since you got best film, I was talking about best film.
Best film?
Yeah.
Best film has to be Maunaragam and Maunaragam.
Really? That's an interesting choice. Yeah.
Because I think it was a very feministic film, a very feministic take. It understood women of those times, of the 80s, And I remember Manisa telling me that he had written it as a short story called Divya.
Yeah.
And I think it is from all the girls that he saw around him, a very observant and a very incisive, visceral kind of a story. So I think Maunaragam, above all, it was.
And for Bala?
I like all his films, but Pitamagan. Because it's a very emotional story, and it's a very mainstream film in the garb of a non-mainstream film. A very, very cleverly mainstream written and directed mainstream film. I love it. It's all about a friendship and a relationship. One person is wronged and the other person goes and seeks vengeance, seeks revenge, I love it. He's a very mainstream filmmaker.
No, and I think for those times, it was so fresh, because I don't think anybody had seen anything like that. So raw within that mainstream format, because you've seen plenty of revenge stories, but nothing like this, just was so amazing. Thank you, Sudha. And once again, congratulations, because I think that, I know you've said this often, that filmmaking is a collaborative art, and it is. There is no denying that. But I personally, even if you don't agree, I personally feel that unless it comes under the vision, under the umbrella of a director's vision, it's going to go haywire. And I think a film is still a director's medium. So as a director who got Best Feature Film and the first female South Indian director, congratulations.
Thank you.